Well, hi, Bob. Yeah, I'm Maureen Meehan. As Elliot said, I'm the cannabis editor here now at Benzinga, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on the second day of the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference. And I am thrilled to be joined for this fireside chat by Bob Fireman, the CEO of MariMed. For those of you who are not familiar with the company, MariMed enjoys a long history. Elliot called him an OG in the cannabis industry, surely as far as multi-state operators are concerned. Bob and his team founded the company over a decade ago, initially as consultants and advisors to license holders, before then evolving recently to a fully vertical seed to sale company. The MariMed team has also developed and operates cultivation, processing, and dispensary sites in 6 states, including the company's home state, which is the great state of Massachusetts. The company enjoyed a fantastic year of growth and performance in 2020, and that has continued now in 2021 as MariMed reported its best earnings ever. Congratulations. So Bob and MariMed have been loyal patrons of Benzinga for many years, well, several years, for which we're very thankful. And that's why I don't mind saying that we think the company, MariMed, is one of the best kept secrets in the industry right now. So with that, let me say hello to Bob Fireman of MariMed.
Well, Maureen, thank you for that introduction and welcome. We welcome you to the Benzinga family.
Thank you.
As we go across the country with our team, your company, Benzinga, has been one of the most professional, most helpful in this emerging industry over time. We missed the in-person events that they ran. I mean, but as an emerging industry and a public company, they've been really helpful of introducing us to people. The sessions are informative, they're educative, and as this industry gets more mainstream, it's a result of the work that Benzinga does with Patrick and Elliot and the great team.
Thank you. Yes, and I understand soon we will be having in-person events. So, all right, well, I'll start. If you want to fill in anything about yourself or the company that I missed, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to start asking you some questions.
Well, I think as a company, we are one of the best kept secrets around, not always by design. We're very grateful of what we do. And maybe as we get into more events like this and get more chats with people like yourselves, we will get known. I mean, we are Massachusetts based. I'm sitting here in Norwood, Massachusetts, our corporate headquarters. And from Massachusetts, we've developed with the MariMed team 17 cannabis licenses and businesses in 6 states. Developed over 400,000 feet of state-of-the-art compliant medical cultivation with genetics, processing with state-of-the-art laboratories, and we know how to package and distribute things well. We have developed our own proprietary brands, which we'll talk about a little later. And we are now had a transformative year last year in 2020, where we're in our consolidation strategy to roll up these businesses we've developed over years and merge them into our public company so that we can now report that revenue on our public filings. So we had a very strong performance this year in 2020. Our core cannabis business approached $51 million, and our earnings were $16.5 million because of the team that we have and the efficiencies that we create. So we're here and we're poised for growth, and we think we're one of the top growing companies in the emerging MSO space.
Fabulous. Well, that kind of helps me segue into my first sort of question. As you mentioned, you evolved from being an advisor to license holders to consolidating those businesses in order to become a fully vertical MSO, which is part of a strategic plan that you began about 2 years ago, correct? So could you just tell us more about that plan and how it evolved and what your current status is at the moment? I mean, you mentioned quite a bit, but what was what was the grit that sort of pushed you into that like evolution into uh, fully vertical MSO operators?
Well, when we started back in when medical marijuana was being put onto referendums up in the eastern states, um, there were competitive bids, and it was a different environment than exists today. In those states, some of them required that you be not-for-profit, state not-for-profit, and you had to apply as stockless companies. So we developed our structure that we learned in California, where the states didn't want the pot guys making too much money, so they called it not-for-profit. We developed a strategy that basically allowed our investors to come in on the real estate side of investments. So we helped people write licenses and built our validated experience around them. We won licenses, and as we won the licenses, we then started to site and develop the property. Our team had deep, vast experience in business acumen, in real estate, in development, in science. And with that team, we sited property and we developed all these facilities in all these different states. Our revenue at the time was coming from rents and percentage rents, consulting fees, advisory fees, and once we developed our own branded products, licensing fees and the like. And I think the industry sort of changed in 2017 and 18 when the Canadian Stock Exchange evolved and this concept of multi-state operators and raising capital in public companies became more prolific. We didn't go the Canadian route. We stayed on the OTCQX, and we've been very successful in it. But I think at some point we needed to put the revenue into the public reporting so that we could look as a full state integrated seed to sale MSO.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, we developed a strategy, and over the last 18 months, we pulled in Illinois and Massachusetts, and both of those states were both now adult and medical. So we got the benefit of that. And in 2020, we opened our third adult use dispensary in Illinois, and we just opened our fourth in a place called Metropolis, Illinois, home of Superman for us people that remember DC comic books. And,
wow, your persistence is paying off, isn't it?
It is, Superman.
Yes, absolutely.
So with that revenue we started to flow in 2020, along with us finishing in Massachusetts, we have a 135,000 foot building. We've developed 70,000 into cultivation and manufacturing, and we ramped up that production in 2020. That created this transformation year, which we now will have a full year of that. And the success of that and the comfort we have with our numbers, that's why we gave guidance for the first time of last year. And we've now guidance for 100 million this year, just with what we started in 2020. And we're predicting over $30 million in EBITDA to our bottom line.
Wow, fantastic. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have heard you say, well, I've heard you quoted, that consolidating the businesses that you developed versus acquiring other existing operators offers some real benefits to investors that aren't immediately recognized often. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Well, with all the money that was raised on Bay Street, a lot of these larger MSOs decided that they want to have their footprint in multiple states. And they went around and they paid significantly high tariffs to acquire existing licenses from folks like ourselves or single operators in every state. We did it differently. When you look at MariMed, when we talk about roll-up and consolidation, we're talking about rolling up the businesses that we kickstarted, that we organically grew by finding the real estate, developing the licenses, hiring and creating the work staff, training them to all of our SOPs, integrating all our systems, all our back-end software and reporting. And so now we're consolidating businesses for a fraction of the cost. And we don't have some of the challenges of others trying to assimilate different systems, different growing methods, different operating platforms, and different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at MariMed and the people that visit us, they see that as though we're considered a large multi-state operation, we kept the culture of the people that work closely as our team. The success of our businesses and the success of the people that come to work every day and the knowledge and acumen that they've created. It's in the formulations of our brands and products that have become bestsellers in most of the states that we're in. So we're very lucky to do that. And we think that our roll-up is a lot simpler, less risky, and more easily obtainable to keep success and momentum than some of our other peers doing these huge mergers of multiple states, et cetera.
Speaking of states, I know that, well, of course, we've talked about your significant, presence in states that garner a lot of attention because they're big recreational sales markets, like Illinois, Massachusetts. But you've also mentioned that your footprint includes some states that don't get so much attention, like Maryland and Delaware, small states. Can you tell us why you're so excited about those states and what your expansion plans beyond your current footprint did? You kind of talked about that already, but these smaller states, let's hear about that.
Well, bigger is not necessarily better.
Good.
I think we heard about that in the Kama Sutra, which we won't talk about today. I think states like Delaware. So we were the consultant and won an application for a not-for-profit in Delaware almost 4 or 5 years ago. We did the pilot program for the state, and we developed a 46,000-foot seed-to-sale building there, which we've now opened a second dispensary, and I think we hold 2 of the 4 or 6 licenses in the state and have the major market share. These states with less than a few million people are very profitable because they have limited licenses, and we can take advantage of that opportunity. We're also, every state in the country now is looking at some form of cannabis medical and looking at it moving over to adult use, which is now in over 33 states in the district. So we're developing 100,000 square foot new modern production and cannabis cultivation facility in a place called Milford, Delaware.
Oh.
And down there, we have our second dispensary open in Lewis on the Delaware shore, where I saw President and Mrs. Biden bicycling yesterday. Hopefully they went by our store, and they are 21 years of age, so they probably didn't have a license.
Oh, God. Please talk to him if you get a chance.
Yes.
Talk to him.
Well, his son, when we were opening that program, his deceased son, Bo, was Attorney General and was extremely helpful to our cause.
Okay.
Delaware is very profitable. We think it will even get better. They're looking at reciprocity. They're looking at adult use, and it's great. In Maryland, we developed bought a 180,000-foot production facility, and we developed 100,000 of it. And our client's business is now running north of $20 million, and we're going to expand the balance of that facility.
Great.
So those states are good, and part of our consolidation strategy is to target some of our team have developed one of the 3 licenses in Rhode Island in a seed-to-sale operation that tracks is probably one of the most acclaimed facilities in the United States.
Great. Now, you mentioned earlier your brands, some of your products, your Betty's Edibles and Nature's Heritage brands. They are market leaders in a number of states, including Massachusetts, of course. What's the secret to building a great brand in cannabis today?
Well, the law itself of no interstate commerce requires that everything made with cannabis THC has to be built in each state when it's in. So keeping the consistent quality, creating that product is a challenge that there's really been very little on a national brand. We know the future is branding and distribution, and we're geared to that. But our team's been together 10 years. The excess of our food laboratory scientists have created formulations that are fast acting, that are geared to specific symptoms for specific remedies. Our Betty's Eddies is very popular. Our Confusion, drinks, our new innovative products on our genetics that are top, creates the best flower sales in the markets that we have. So we need to develop, and our strategy is really to be a trusted company making products that are safe, that are consistent, that are trusted, and that improve the health and wellness of the customers and clients and patients that take it.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Bob. Now, we're almost out of time, but I have one quick question. What are your predictions for the industry? Are you feeling bullish about movement in DC? You mentioned DC before. What do you think? We have about a couple minutes, so let us know.
I think, waiting on Washington's always been a challenge. But, 20 years ago, it was a joke talking about legalization. Now there's bills before the House and the Senate.
Exactly.
We were excited to see the House finally pass and propose a bill that allowed for ingestibles of CBD, which was promised a year and a half ago. Right now, Senator Schumer is sitting on a proposed bill that will help safe banking, hopefully. It will do this decriminalization and hopefully do some more. I mean, our goal of being on the OTC is to get to NASDAQ. And we're debating with our friends at NASDAQ. So maybe the decriminalization will take companies like Massachusetts, like MariMed here in Massachusetts, and give them an opportunity to really be the U.S. leader in a corporate structure on a U.S. Public exchange.
Great. We hope that too, and we hope it for everyone. Thank you so much, Bob. This has been brilliant. It's just been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, and Elliot, and thank everyone at Benzinga. We hope that sessions like this will people know that we're a great investment as a stock with a great team, a balance-free, profitable company poised for growth across the industry. Thank you all very much for the time.
Thank you, and back to Elliot.
Thank you both.